We're going to be taking a look at the switch. Now we want to use it to input the value for a variable, in this case, say the amount of kids they have, and we want to send them back a personalized message. The switch is going to allow us to send back a personalized message or execute a personalized piece of code depending on the value of a variable. So say we have 1 submitted, we'll send them back a certain message, or we can execute a certain piece of code. If they enter 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter what they enter, but we can actually design what pieces of code are going to be executed no matter what they enter, and that's what the purpose of the switch is. So start up by making the user input. We saw I already have the Java scanner imported up here. We'll go ahead and make our scanner object. So you write the keyword scanner, write whatever you want to call the object, in this case scan, and I'll write new scanner system.in. We've seen this before in the series to allow user input. Now we can't pass the scanner object scan through our switch, so we're going to need to actually go ahead and make a variable where we'll be able to store whatever information they submit, so the amount of kids they have. So I'll write integer kids, and I'll be setting this to scan.next integer right there. So this means whatever they input is going to be stored in this parking space over here, which was integer variable kids. So that'll be the number of kids they have. Now we can go ahead and create our switch. We'll make a bit of space here because this is going to get really big and really messy. We'll go ahead and write the keyword switch, and in brackets you'll pass through whatever variable you plan to test. So we'll be passing through the variable kids, and as you probably guessed, we're going to have our own curly braces for the switch. Now each different option you have available, right, based on the value of the variable, will be called a case. So you write the keyword case inside of the body of this switch, and you go ahead and put the number or whatever value of the variable you want it to correspond to. So in this case, what happens if they have 0 kids, right? And the people who watch my C++ series are going to be mad at me because I'm going to use the exact same example for the cases. So you're not going to get a new example going on, but it's going to be the exact same thing, right? It doesn't really make a difference. So we see we have case 0 over here, which means if they were to enter that they have 0 kids, we want to send them back a certain message. So you're going to start off by going in here, and you're going to end it off with a colon, not a semicolon, right? We've looked at a lot of semicolons so far. You're going to end that off with a colon. So case 0, if they have 0 kids, I want this piece of code to be sent to their screen. System.out.println, because I want to print something to the screen, and I'm going to say you have 0 kids, maybe you should get a girlfriend. End the line right there, which means if they were to say that they have 0 kids, I'm going to go ahead and send them this. Now, if, for example, they did have 0 kids, well, we know that the answer was 0, right? We don't actually have to go and look at every other option that I'm going to be putting inside the switch. We're finished. So in order to tell the system that we're finished and save some time, we can just go ahead and write break over here, and you're going to end that one off with a semicolon. Now, this means that, okay, you've managed to go inside of case 0 to execute this piece of code. You don't need to go ahead and look at all the other cases, so case 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything else we were to write after this. We can just go ahead and end this off, and you can save some time. You don't need to do anything else inside of the switch, and you're going to put that after each case. So go ahead and make a next case now. Make case 1. So if they have 1 kid, we'll write system.out.println, and we can go ahead in here and say you have 1 kid, he or she will be spoiled. Right there. So that's what happens if they have 1 kid. It's going to send them this message instead, and we'll have it to break again. So say they have 1 kid, it's going to see case 0. Well, that's not true. It's going to skip it over. It's not even going to look inside and look at all these things that are going on in here. It's going to see case 1. It says, okay, it goes inside, it'll execute this piece of code, and then it's going to break, and it's going to leave the switch because it's done. Same thing if you're up here with 0 kids. You don't need to go ahead and look at case number 1 because you know that you have 0 kids. You can use the break to get out of the switch. You don't need to actually waste your time looking down the rest of these cases. So go ahead and make case number 2. We'll make a few of them here. We go system.out.println, you have 2 kids, they will fight a lot. Only speak the truth here. Break. Go ahead and make another one. Case 3, system.out.println, you have 3 kids, I hope you have a high paying job, or else they're not going to be able to go to college. Right there. And now what would happen if, we can't just go ahead and do this forever, right? I mean, what happens if they were to enter like 50 kids, right? I mean, I'm not going to be able to go and write all the cases up to 50. So what you do at the end is you make the default. The default is going to be in the event that you went through all of these and you didn't find a match, you're going to go ahead and use whatever's inside of the default, right? So we'll go ahead and make the default as the last one in there. And this would happen, for example, if they have 4 or more kids, right? Because I'm not going to make it for more. I'm going to assume they have either 0, 1, 2, or 3 kids. If they have more than that, it's going to execute whatever's inside of the default. So if we assume that they have more than 3 kids, the appropriate message here is you have more than 3 kids. No, so have you ever heard of condoms? right there. So that's the appropriate answer right there. And we'll go ahead, and you don't need to put a break at the end here because we're done in the switch no matter what, right? So you don't need to go ahead and put the break. You can actually just go ahead and end that off right there. It doesn't need to look at anything else because we are all done. So that's how we make our switch, and we can go ahead and test this out. We go ahead and press the run button over here. We'll go down to the console. It's going to say, it wants us to input. I should have put a message here to tell it to input the amount of kids, but it doesn't really matter. Say I would have put 0. It says you have 0 kids. Maybe you should get a girlfriend. Go ahead and run it again. I can put 1. You have 1 kid. He or she will be spoiled. Go ahead and run it again. We can try 2. You have 2 kids. They will fight a lot. Go ahead and run it one more time. We see you have 3 kids. I hope you have a high-paying job or else they ain't going to college. You can actually try one more time and say you have, say, 2,342 kids. You have more than 3 kids. Have you ever heard of condoms? So there we go. That's how we can design our switch. And once again, you don't need to have the break at the end of the default because it already assumes that you're finished once you're all the way done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions regarding the switch, please leave them in the comments below and I'll answer you as soon as possible. And I'll see you guys in the next video.